So I'm sitting here eating my Ben & Jerry's ice cream because today on the show, we're talking about dating. In particular, my experiences with dating over the summer. And as you might be able to assume, seeing how I'm still doing a podcast called the Single Parents Podcast, it didn't work out so great. So I'm, just eating my feelings away over here as we prepare to talk about this. No, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm gonna put this ice cream away. I'm gonna hold my head high. I'm gonna remember that I'm still a strong single dad king who don't need no girl. No, I'm good. But yeah, I think I don't know. We got some stuff to get into though. Hello, everybody. Anthony here. Welcome to another episode of the Single Parents Podcast. This is the podcast for anybody whose life may have turned out a little less than traditional. Appreciate you joining us for another episode. This is it. This is the one that I've just been gearing up to dive into, the dating episode, my experiences with a couple of... just kind of set the groundwork for the episode, really. Basically, over the summer, had a couple, I would say, like, situationships at the best. Like, it wasn't that deep. I wasn't going to the store looking to buy engagement rings or anything like that. So just for some perspective. But I did put my feelings out there. I did put myself out there a little bit and I think that's kind of fitting because we said this on last week's season premiere. The theme for the fall 2024 season of the show is being in the why not era. So why not just go for things and just see how they turn out? And so as I was kind of thinking through that for myself over the summer, when a couple of relationship opportunities, I guess you could say, presented themselves, I said, you know what, well, why not? Why not go on the dates? Why not just slide in the DMs? Why not just see where this goes? And I definitely did learn a lot from those experiences. And then also, I guess, for some more groundwork when it comes to this episode in particular, like I'm not necessarily going to be talking about the women that I was in these situationships with over the summer, because that's just not this type of show, so we're not going to get messy like that. Really, the point of this episode is going to be me breaking down just a few things in particular that I really learned about myself and about my perspective on dating in general from those situationships that occurred over the summer. So that's what we're going to get into in just a second. But before we do, I just want to make sure that you yourselves are fully ready to be engaged with the show, doing all of the things that it takes to be a part of this community. It's all simple. It's all free. Nothing crazy. Just a few things. The first thing is just maybe consider sharing the podcast with a friend, with a family member, with somebody that you might find yourself kind of fancying a little bit. Maybe get a little crush, a little situationship of yourself out there. What better way to express love than sharing a legit podcast with somebody? That's my motto. And why not make that podcast this podcast? So if you wouldn't mind, spread the podcast around so we can keep building up the voices that make up this show. The second thing I might ask you to do is that for you yourself, maybe consider subscribing to the podcast, turning on automatic downloads so you never miss an episode in the future. And then last but not least, if you feel so inclined to do so, maybe consider rating the podcast 5 stars on your favorite podcast hosting platform. That way it not only tells the algorithms out there that the show's legit and passes it along to more people, but it helps me because my ego's been bruised over the summer with these relationships not working out. And so maybe you could help a brother build himself back up by those 5 stars. Is my emotional guilt trip working? No, seriously. Only do it if you think the show's worthy of those 5 stars. But if you truly do, then I definitely would appreciate it. All right. Well, with all that out of the way, let's get into that good. Oh, okay. So, yeah, over the summer, had a couple different situationships with a couple different girls. And first of all, let me say this. Do I regret putting myself out there, saying why not, and stepping into those relationships? Ultimately, I don't think I regret it. Like, even though they didn't work out, I don't think I regret it, because as I'm about to break it down here in a second, I really did learn a lot about myself and how to navigate some of these waters from those relationships. And I think, learning about yourself is always good. Learning about how to handle different situations is always good. So I appreciate that. How they ended was, it might have been kind of annoying. Some stuff in the middle of the situationships might have been kind of annoying and kind of stressful and all those things. Hence why it probably didn't work out with them. And so, but ultimately, no, I don't regret putting myself out there. I'm glad that I did. I'm glad that I'm still somebody, even as a single dad, who continues just to explore, to see what's out there, to give stuff a shot, because you just never know, right? You just never know. But ultimately, as I'm here, beginning of fall, I think is it fall? It might almost be fall. I don't know if it's technically fall calendar-wise. But it's like the fallish season, right? Early September. Looking back at the summer, looking back at those situationships and my experiences, I think I was able to take away 3 big things that I've learned from dating over the summer. So let's just get into one by one, all right? So the first big thing I learned over the summer when it comes to dating is how to do that, how to date while also having my kids involved in all of that, being around the other person and knowing that I'm talking to somebody, if you will, because maybe I said this on the show before, but over the last several years that I've been a single dad, when it comes to, I guess, my schedule with my kids, practically, I do, if you don't know, I do the week on, week off co-parenting thing. So over those several years living that life, I guess you could say, it's pretty easy to kind of separate my situationships, my relationships from my kids, right? Because essentially what I would do is like, okay, this week I have my girls, and so I'm fully focused on them. Not saying I can't talk to the person I'm not talking to. We can't call or text or whatever. But, we're not going on dates a whole lot. They're not coming over, being around the girls, because I just never have really gotten into a relationship that I felt like, okay, I'm ready for you to meet my kids. I'm ready for you to be around. I'm ready for them to know that you're my girlfriend. I'm ready to start doing all of those things, because I just wanted to kind of protect them from that, because when you bring your kids around people and they get attached to that person and they build their own relationships with that person, if it doesn't work out, it can be extra messy, because now they're emotionally involved in all those things. And I know that we might have the best intentions when it comes to that. We might, one of my friends has like a 6-month rule when it comes to dating somebody before she introduces that person to her kids. So we can have all the best intentions and take it slow, and then stuff still not work out, and stuff still kind of, have to be figured out when it comes to our kids, explaining to them that, oh, so-and-so's not coming over anymore, we broke up, blah, 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 blah. So that just happens. That's just sometimes happens regardless. But for me, it was just easy to say, okay, well, I'm interested in you. I want to build a relationship with you. Like, let's just continue talking, going on dates, doing you coming over, I going over to your house, doing all those things the weeks that I don't have my girls. And so that way I can kind of ease into this, see where this goes without bringing them fully right away into the relationship as well. So that's kind of how it was in the past. But over the summer, one particular relationship, dating situationship I got into kind of changed right away when it came to that aspect, because the person who I was talking to was actually the mom of one of my kids' close friends. And so, it was seeing one of my kids' friends' mom, I guess you could say. So I realized right away, like, I'm interested in this person. I think releasing, like, going on dates and talking and seeing what's up. I realized right away that this might have to be something I tell my kids right off the jump, because their friend whose mom I was seeing for a little bit, they're like besties, right? So they're playing Roblox together and talking all the time, and they have gymnastics together. So it's just one of those situations where it was going to be inevitable for them to find out either from their friend or just circumstance that, oh, Dad, you're talking to so-and-so's mom, what the heck, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, because of this very unique situation, not that I ever, I guess to be clear, wanted to hide the fact that I was talking to girls in the past. I was never like a thing I just kept fully a secret from them on intentionally. It just kind of worked out. Because the girls are very protective of me. They don't really love the idea of me dating in the first place anyways. And so they're just, they just have their dad's back. And so it just became one of those things where in the past when I was talking to somebody, it was just like, okay, well, let's just take it slow. When I have the girls, we're not even really going to get into a lot of that unless eventually this relationship turns into something that I need to start having conversations with them about. And it never did. Except for, again, this unique circumstance that happened over the summer. So I was like, okay, so this is what I think I need to do. So I kind of really started talking to this person while the girls were away at their mom's house. So I had some time just to kind of think about it and kind of make some decisions. And so it came close to the day that I was going to pick them up from their moms. And so I was like, I think what I need to do is I need to just tell them right off the jump, so they hear it from me, so I can kind of let them know that, hey, Dad's talking to somebody, Dad's going on dates, so I can answer their questions, or I can help them think through it, or I can hear their emotional responses to all of this. I just want them to hear it from me versus them getting on the phone talking to their friend and their friend being like, oh, by the way, did you know that your dad's going on dates with my mom, blah, 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 blah. And then them coming to me and being like, Dad, what the heck? Why didn't you? I feel like to honor their feelings and to honor their lives in general, I just wanted to be upfront versus them thinking I was trying to hide something and then them finding out from their friend or, whatever. And then them, I don't know, maybe feeling betrayed a little bit or something like that. And so that's what happened. That's what I decided to do. So I picked them up from their mom's house one Sunday, and the first thing I did was say hey, this is what's up. Nothing, she's not my girlfriend. We're nothing crazy like that. We're not getting married, but I just want you to know, Dad's talking to somebody and going on dates and so on and so forth. And at first they were like, what? No, blah, blah, blah. Because again, they're super protective of me and they just want to make sure I'm good. But then when I told them it was their best friend's mom, then they're like, oh, okay, because that just means we probably get to hang out with our friend more, because if you're hanging out with her mom, then we can hang out with our friend. And so they kind of okay, cool, blah, 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 blah. And so that was I think I'm really proud of myself for that decision, because again, no matter what the circumstances, I always want to appropriately, for their age and for their context, just have those type of conversations with my kids and just be fully transparent, so that way they know hey, we're a family, we're a team, we can work through these things together. I don't want you to feel like I, through my life, am making all the decisions for you and impacting your life and doing all these things, and you just need to deal with it because I'm the parent, and if I'm bringing this person around, you just kind of have to suck it up and be okay with it and all these different things. And I just know this is their life too, and I just want them to be able to express their feelings about certain things. So I was really glad I handled it that way, and it was good. It was good for a while, until things kind of became apparent that, okay, I don't think this is going to work out with this person. That's when the next kind of part of that conversation had to happen, because I just knew I just needed to tell them hey, I don't think this is going to work out. And that I was more nervous to have that conversation with them than I was the initial conversation when I was telling them I was talking to somebody, because they really did care about this person I was talking to. Maybe it was because it's their friend's mom, and so they just love their friend, so they're gonna love her mom. Maybe they legit just love this person as a person. But I wrestled with a lot of guilt for several days leading up to that conversation, because I was like, see, this is why in the past I wasn't bringing people around the girls, because if things didn't work out, then now they're they care about this person, they like being around this person, and now I have to tell them, oh, we're not going to see this person as much, and it's going to be this whole big thing, and I just hate the idea of putting them on that roller coaster. So I did wrestle with a lot of guilt and shame and some anger and all these different, a lot of emotions. And I was nervous having that conversation with them because I just didn't want to hurt them, I guess, to upset them. So one day after I got off work, I took them to the park, and we went and got snow cones because that's one of their favorite things to do. And I sat them down at one of the tables, and I was like, all right, girls, so there's something I need to tell you. And they were like, oh, what? And I was like, like, I don't think that, me and so-and-so are going to end up, being boyfriend, girlfriend, or anything like that. Like, I think we're just maybe just be friends, and but I don't think we're going to be going on dates anymore. I don't remember exactly how I said it. I was probably like stumbling over my words because I was so nervous, and whatever. And I was like, well, okay, like, this is it. How do you feel about this? Like, what are your thoughts? And they kind of just like looked at their snow cones, looked at each other, and they were like, meh. And I was like, oh, like, you're not like upset. You're not like what are you thinking? And they're like, oh, well, Dad, we already told you, you're not allowed to have girlfriends anyways. And so, like, we told you a long time ago not to have girlfriends. And I'm like, yeah, that's true. You did tell me. And they were just like, I don't know. Cool, whatever. We're going to keep eating our snow cones. Like, they weren't upset. Like, they took it like very well, I guess. Like, I was kind of surprised because here I was beating myself up for days, getting ready to have this conversation with them, and they were just like, yeah, whatever. Can you go push us on the swings or something like that? And so that made me feel good. But I think ultimately maybe their way, because I was talking to a friend about this later on, maybe the reason why they took it so well was because I was so transparent with them throughout the whole process or journey, whatever you want to say, because like I was just, I don't know, like hopefully by me having those conversations step by step made it easier for me to tell them like, hey, like this isn't going to work, or this person's not coming around as much anymore, so on and so forth, because they didn't feel like I was just blindsiding them with all these major changes all of the time. So I don't know, but I'm glad I handled it that way. That was my first time really like bringing my kids into a romantic situation that I was in. So I learned a lot when it comes to that aspect and how to have those conversations and what that needs to look like in my relationship, particularly with my girls, and how they process things and all that sort of good stuff. The next thing that I guess I learned is that communication in particular is huge for me. Like, I value that so much because essentially it just boils down to like, hey, like me as a single dad, busy with work and school and gymnastics and pickup and friend relationships and all these different things. Like, I don't mind like being in a relationship and talking to somebody, but I don't have time. I legit practically do not have time for bad communication or bad emotional intelligence and not being able to articulate feelings and work through feelings. Like I said, I'm not going to be talking about, the girls that I was talking to over the summer, but I'll just say for like one of them, that was kind of one of the things that I was like, this isn't going to work out, because her communication was just horrible. Like, she would go days without like communicating anything and answering questions and helping me like let's figure this out. And then she would come back later and like say, oh well, I don't know, ho hum. And I was just like, you know what, like I understand if you need some time to process, if you need some time to think, if you need some alone time, all that's like cool, 1,000%. You do you self-care. Yes, we love to see it, we love it, but again, for communication for me, it's just huge, to where I'm just like, if you need even like a few days just to do you, like I would love nothing more for you just to come and say, hey Anthony, look, you know what, like having a good time, appreciate all this, but you know what, I just need a few days. I'm going to go radio silent for a few days. I'm going to just do me for a few days, go hang out with my girlfriends, hang out with my own kids, do all these things just for a few days, and I'll text you Monday or something like that. Like, I would hear that and I'm like, cool, sweet, 1,000%, I get it, you go do you, I'll talk to you on Monday, that's awesome. But what I can't do is this whole like ho hum bad communication, roller coaster stuff, mostly just because I just don't have time to deal with that, or maybe I just don't have time to deal with the games. And maybe this will tie more into my third thing that I learned that I'll share here in a second. But I just don't have time for it, because again, as a single parent in general, I got other people who rely and depend on me to make it through the day as a single parent with younger kids, who need me to be engaged, who need me to tend to them, who need me to do all of the practical things of life, to just navigate Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, whatever it is. And so I can't just be always sitting by my phone wondering what's going on, what is she doing, all these different things, where are we, like, what are we gonna do? Like, I just, like, it's not even like I'm sad about the fact that, hey, maybe there's some bad communication. It's just like I just don't have time for this because I need to go make some kids some lunches for school. And I learned that. And so, like, I think I learned a lot about what I value in maybe a future potential partner, right? And I think from these relationships not working out over the summer, I think I was able to see, like, okay, like, I think one thing I truly would value in somebody who is for me is somebody who can communicate well and who, again, has that emotional intelligence. Not saying like everything's always going to be perfect and everything's always going to be rainbow and sunshines and honeymoon phase, but somebody who's able to say, like, hey, you know what, like, this is what I'm feeling, this is kind of what I'm thinking, can we talk through this? Or, hey, like, I just need some space to think about how I'm feeling, like, just give me a day, like, I might not text you for a day or two, but just know, like, no, nothing against you, care about you, I appreciate you, but I just need, like, that sort of type of communication and emotional intelligence is something I think I value a lot and will value a lot, and maybe a potential future partner. And I think it's ultimately because I myself have done so much work in that area over the last 5 or 6 years, however it's long since I've been a single parent. I've really worked to be somebody who knows how to communicate his feelings and who knows how to process his feelings and to articulate his feelings. Because I did used to suck at that horribly back in the day. Like, I was such, like, maybe like a people pleaser, or would become like a chameleon in order to get love and affection, that I just didn't fully know how to share what I was thinking and feeling, because I was afraid if I did that, then maybe it would impact the relationship. So I just kind of kept that all in and just kind of tried to be the person who I thought the other person wanted or needed me to be. But over these last few years, I've learned how to just be me and to be cool with that and to share the things that I'm thinking, the things that I'm feeling. And sure, I don't do it perfectly. I'm not saying I'm a master at it, but I think I valued so much of all of that within myself that I truly do value that when I see that lived out in a healthy way when it comes to somebody else. And the last thing I would say I learned over the summer when it comes to dating and all of that sort of good stuff, actually I kind of got from a podcast I was listening to not that long ago. These guys were basically talking about the fact that, hey, you know what, like, when you get older, do you notice that you're better at recognizing, like, red flags and things like that in people a lot quicker, and it's a lot easier for you to kind of say, you know what, I don't think this is for me, like, I'm not gonna waste your time, I don't want to waste my time, like, let's just call it good. Like, they're like, do you notice that as you get older? And I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, like, I think I learned that over the summer, is that me being in my mid-30s, early to mid-30s, I'm better through life experiences, maybe just through maturing, through, I don't know, whatever you want to say, at seeing things in other people that maybe red flags is too strong of a word. Like, yeah, there was some red flags in some people over the summer, but maybe it's even just like incompatibility. Like, I'm able to see, like, like, I don't think this aspect of you is gonna mesh well with this aspect of me. And it's not even necessarily like a bad thing. It could just be something like, hey, like, that's awesome that's you and you do that certain thing, or you think that certain way. But for me, when it comes to where I'm going in life or my values or my boundaries, this is just kind of where I'm at, and I don't want to feel like I need to fully compromise some of those big things in myself in order to make a puzzle piece fit that maybe isn't supposed to go in that right spot. You get what I'm saying? And that's for like big things, like small things, like, I don't know, where to eat for dinner, or clothes that you wear that maybe the other person doesn't like or you don't like on them, whatever, small stuff, whatever. But for bigger stuff, big picture stuff, especially when it comes to having kids involved and how you want them to be raised and who you want them around and things like that, it was easier for me this summer than maybe ever before, just to look at some things and be like, you know what, like, I appreciate this person. This person's great. You know, a lot of great things about this person. They look fantastic. They're funny, but I just don't know if this person is my person. For sure, they'll be great for somebody else, but like, because of some things that I just don't think are gonna fully mesh together, like, I just don't. Or maybe it is just red flags. Maybe there's some big red flags that you just see in people, and you're just able to be like, yeah, like, maybe back in the day when I was early 20s or something like that, I would try to dance around some of those red flags, or to excuse away some of those red flags for the sake of not wanting to be alone, or just really wanting to make things work with this person because they are so hot, or they are so this or that. But yeah, as I just get older, I'm just like, you know what, like, a red flag's a red flag. I've lived long enough to know already, and even at 30, that there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's more people out there. Like, it's just not worth putting up with or compromising yourself for the sake of just making something work that just probably shouldn't work. And so so like, again, back in the day, like, maybe when it comes to those red flags, I would have drawn out the process of removing myself, like, from that person, or being emotionally involved with that person, or in that relationship. It would have been a whole process. It would have taken a lot longer than now, where I'm just like, you know what, red flag, I don't think this is going to work. I think we should just, be the whole, let's just be friends, or let's just kind of go and see other people type thing. And it's just not like a whole to do, right? Like, I know I did the whole Ben and Jerry's bit at the beginning of the podcast, but like, really, it's just like, you know what, it's just didn't work out, and I just didn't see it, or there's these things about this person that I just can't ignore, and I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep about that. I'm not going to beat myself up about that. I'm just gonna keep caring for my kids, keep caring for myself, and know that my person's out there, and I'll just kind of chill until I meet that person. Not saying that, it doesn't suck and it's not kind of a bummer and you're not, sad about even situationships that didn't work out, but you all get what I'm saying. Like, sometimes as you go older, as you mature, part of getting older and maturing when it comes to dating and relationships is knowing that it's okay if things don't work out, because the person that you're meant to be with is going to be the one that you truly do end up with at the end of the day. The puzzle piece is going to fit well. Things are going to just click. Things are going to be okay. You don't have to excuse away the red flags for the sake of being that person. They're just meant to be, and it's going to be. So those are 3 things that, I've learned about dating over the summer. Like I said, like, sure, there's a lot of ups and downs with it. Dating can be so annoying and exhausting and expensive and all these things. But ultimately, I guess I'm glad I learned those lessons. So hopefully, as I go forward in the future, if I end up talking to somebody else, then I can take some of these lessons that I learned and keep applying them in healthy ways. In the meantime, I'm good. Single life, it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie. So in the meantime, we're chilling. We're chilling. It's time now for the part of the podcast that I like to call Deeply Single. This is for all of you listeners out there who made it to the deep end of the episode. Just going to give you a little something usually to think about, to chew on, to be encouraged by, all those things before we head out back into our busy lives. And for today, for Deeply Single, I just really want to give you something to maybe share your opinion about. So basically, I'm going to be sharing with you all a TikTok video from a creator named literally Jas_. So it's at literally JAS _. And I'm gonna share the video, and I saw this video, and I'll share my thoughts about it, I guess. But like, I ultimately just want to get your opinions on this, and to see maybe if you agree with her, if you disagree, if you're somewhere in the middle. So this is more for you to kind of think about where you land when it comes to this topic. So all that to say, I'm going to put this as our poll for the week on Spotify. If you listen to the show on Spotify, or if you want to engage in the poll, go to Spotify the week that this episode comes out, and you can vote on the poll and kind of see where you land when it comes to her take on what she's about to share, or just drop those comments on all our different platforms and I'll read them there. Use the email at singleparentspodcast@gmail.com. This is something for you to truly engage with and think about. And I want to hear your opinions on this. So here's the video that I saw. I'll just share it with you right now.
Now, am I the only one that's a single mother that refuses to seriously date anybody without children? Let me explain. I feel like for me, and my reasoning is because the next person I want to take serious, I feel like I want them to really understand what it is to have a child and the reasons why I don't allow X, Y, and Z. Obviously, I'm not trying to do anything serious as of right now, but I'm thinking ahead, and I'm just like, why would I be with somebody who doesn't have kids? And I would have to explain, like, this is why I'm, acting this way. This is why I need things to be a certain way. Like, am I wrong for that? Like, I don't know. Maybe I'll be open to it, but I feel like relationship would be much easier for, maybe for a blended family or whatever the case is. But I don't know. Am I the only one?
So yeah, okay. So what's your thoughts on that, right? So do you agree with her? Do you disagree with her? Would you, single parent, only be interested in dating somebody in the future with kids? Or are you somebody who's like, yeah, I'll just do it. I'll date whoever. Or do you disagree? Do you think that's not a great attitude to have when it comes to dating? Like, maybe your take on it is like, no, you should just be open to dating whoever, whether they have kids or not. Or maybe you are somebody who would only date somebody with kids because you want somebody who knows what that life is like, knows how to properly care and raise kids, understands and is empathetic to the fact that, like, hey, I can't go on a date with you every Friday night because my kid has football, or sorry, I'm going to have to cancel my date tonight because one of my kids is sick, and I don't need you. I just need you to understand that and not take that personally and not throw a fit about that. And maybe the people who are going to be more empathetic to situations like that are other parents who get it and all these different things. Where do you land on that? I think for me, I'm kind of in the middle. I guess it's situational. Like, I don't think I would be that concrete black or white as she is when it comes to this topic, saying like, oh, I would only date somebody who has kids for all those reasons. And I understand her reasons and her thinking, and I get a lot of that. And I was thinking back as I was setting up for this podcast episode, if I have, again, I haven't really had a serious relationship in a hot minute now, more of a situationship type dude. But of my situationships, I don't think really I was with anybody who didn't have kids. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody. If I'm sorry if I'm forgetting you. I have nothing personal. I don't think so. And so, but I don't think that was like an intentional thing. I think it's just all my situationships have just kind of always happened like that and ended up like that. But I think if I did meet somebody who didn't have kids, who was just chill as hell, who was awesome and dope and patient and understanding and understood the fact that, like, I got 2 daughters who I don't want to compromise my relationship with them for the sake of a relationship with somebody else. Not saying I don't have love in my heart for my kids and for somebody else. I definitely know that I do, but they're not going to be put on the back burner for anybody else. And I hope that you can understand that, and you trust me when I say that I can care about you and care about my kids. Like, it would just take somebody who's like, you know, Anthony, yeah, that's cool. Nope, I get that. I respect that. I'm chill with that. I'm chill with the whole co-parenting thing. I'm gonna be here unconditionally. All those things. It would just take a very special person, and I applaud those people out there. This is for all of you out there who were single and kidless, and then you met somebody who did have kids previously, and you came in and you did an awesome job of loving not only the parent but his or her kids, and things are going well, and now you're one big happy family. Because I understand like how tough that might be sometimes. To if I put myself in the other person's shoes, if I was a kidless single person and I wanted to pursue a woman who had kids, like I understand all of the maturity and empathy and patience that would be involved with stepping into a situation like that. Even though I'm not in that situation, I can see it and I can get it. And I understand if there's people out there who are single and kidless who may have the opposite opinion of the TikTok creator that I just shared, who say like, I don't want to date anybody with kids. Like I only want somebody who doesn't already have kids because like of all those things. And I know some people hear that and they get all offended when they hear people say that and so on and so forth. But it's the same thing. It's just preference. Like she has a preference for only dating people with kids, and there's people out there with a preference for only dating people without kids. And that doesn't make either side a bad person. It's just people have their preference. And as I said earlier in this episode, your person, my person, is going to mesh well with my reality and your reality. And so the reality is I have kids, and so the person I'm going to end up with, whether she has kids or not, is going to be cool with the fact that I have kids. And then vice versa. If I meet somebody who also has kids, and then I'm going to be cool with the fact that she has kids. And so that's just where I land on it. I'm just not so black and white on it. I just think it's just going to depend on the person, depend on the vibes. It's kind of a case by case basis. But I mostly wanted to share that video to get your thoughts and to kind of see where you land in this conversation. So do all the things, use the socials, use the email, vote on the poll the week that this episode comes out, and then maybe I'll gather some of your voices and some of your hot takes when it comes to this conversation, and then maybe I'll do like a little follow-up in a future episode kind of breaking down some of your thoughts on this subject. But in the meantime, everybody, that's going to do it for this episode of the Single Parents Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm excited for next week. Come back next week. Make sure you subscribe because we have an awesome guest. Our first guest of the season is going to be joining us. And let me tell you, you ain't going to want to miss it. So until next time, my name's Anthony, and you all out there, just stay beautiful. Bye.